It's amazing, isn't it, how much we rely on software these days?
It really is.
Everything from banking and shopping
Yeah.
to even like doctor's appointments, all happening online.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're putting a ton of trust in code, you know?
Yeah.
But how can we be sure, like really sure,
Right.
that the software we use every day is actually secure?
Yeah, that's a great question and
Yeah.
a really important one.
Yeah.
Luckily, you shared some excerpts with me
Yeah.
from a book all about secure software development,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we're going to dive into today.
Awesome. Yeah.
We're going to kind of unpack how the industry is trying to make sure that our
Yeah.
digital lives are safe and sound.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's so interesting how building secure software goes
Right.
way beyond just writing good code.
Okay.
It's a whole different mindset.
Okay.
And I think a good place to start is with the idea of evaluation and assurance,
Mm-hmm.
making sure the software does what it claims, security-wise, you know.
Okay, so it's not just enough to hope for the best, right?
Exactly.
We need some kind of system in place to verify that this stuff is actually secure.
Yeah, you need something, some process, some system.
Yeah.
And one of the best-known systems is the Common Criteria.
Yep.
I've probably heard of this, right?
I have, yeah.
It's also known as CC.
Okay.
And you can imagine it like a global security checklist for IT products.
Okay.
It's all about ensuring that a product
Yeah.
actually does what its developers say it does in terms of security.
Okay, so it's like a stamp of approval
Yeah.
that says,
Exactly.
hey, this software has passed some sort of a test, right?
Yeah, it's passed a pretty tough test, actually.
Okay.
And what's even cooler is there's this thing called the Common Criteria Recognition Arrangement,
Wow.
or CCRA.
CCRA.
And it's this agreement where if a product gets certified in one country, say in Europe,
Okay.
that's part of the CCRA,
Uh-huh.
then it's automatically recognized in other countries in the CCRA.
Oh, cool.
So you don't have to go through the entire process in every single country.
Yeah.
Saves a lot of time and hassle.
Yeah. Very efficient.
Yeah,
So how does all this evaluation actually work?
that's a great question.
Is it just a bunch of like people huddled around a computer, like squinting at code?
Well, it's a little more structured than that.
Yeah.
But the visual is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But the way to think about it is it's
Yeah.
like a three-way collaboration.
Okay.
You have the developers who build the software,
Okay.
the evaluators who assess the security,
Uh-huh.
and of course, then the users like you.
Right. So a team effort.
Yeah, definitely a team effort.
What's the role of each of those three?
So developers start by using these things called protection profiles, or PPs, and they basically outline what they're aiming for security-wise.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like their blueprint.
Okay.
Then they create a security target, or ST, showing how their specific product meets those requirements.
Okay, so the protection profile is sort of like the ideal,
Mm-hmm.
and then the security target
Yeah.
is how they put that ideal into practice.
Exactly. And then the evaluators come in and they actually look at the product,
Okay.
which is called the target of evaluation,
Oh,
or
okay.
TO. They
Yeah.
look at that along with the security target,
Mm-hmm.
and they basically try to make sure
Yeah.
that the security claims hold up under scrutiny.
Right, so there's an independent verification happening there.
It's all about that independent verification, which is really, really important.
Yeah, this is all starting to make sense.
Right.
But I'm guessing this all happens within a larger framework.
Absolutely. It's not just random. It
Right.
starts by understanding
Yeah.
where this software will be used, what are the threats.
Right.
So that's the environment, you know, and then we define security objectives.
Okay.
What needs protection, how.
You can't just think about the software
Mm,
on its own.
yeah,
You've got to think about the context
exactly.
that it's going to be used in.
Yeah, the setting it'll be used in.
Right.
And then those objectives get translated into what are called TUI security requirements and security specifications,
Okay.
basically laying out how you achieve those objectives.
Uh-huh.
And then finally, you have the implementation,
Right.
where those specifications come to life in the actual code.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a pretty
Yeah.
structured approach.
It's structured.
But what about the actual security requirements themselves?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like what's actually being evaluated here?
Yeah.
What are they looking at?
Yeah, so there's a category called security functional requirements, or SFRs, and
Yeah.
these are like the building blocks
Okay.
for specific security functions.
Okay.
So one example is cryptographic support,
Okay.
which ensures that sensitive data is encrypted properly.
So like putting a lock.
Exactly, a
Yeah.
digital lock on your data.
Okay, cool.
Another crucial one is user data protection.
Okay.
That's focused on safeguarding your information throughout its life in the software,
Right.
from how it's stored to how it's accessed and deleted.
So making sure it doesn't end up in the wrong hands.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, there are also these things called evaluation assurance levels,
Okay.
or
Oh,
EALs.
yeah, that's all right.
And it's kind of like a grading system,
Right.
It goes from EAL1,
Okay,
which
yeah.
is the most basic, to EAL7,
Okay.
which is the most stringent.
But
And generally, a higher EAL means more confidence in the product's security.
so like a ranking system.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
EAL7 being at the top.
Exactly.
Right.
But, and this is important,
Yeah.
the EAL alone doesn't tell the whole story.
Okay.
You really need to know the specific SFRs a product claims to meet,
Okay.
because the evaluation only looks at those.
Right. So just because it has a really high ELL
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean it's protected against every threat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's more nuanced than that.
Right. It's a little bit more complex
Yeah.
than it appears on the surface.
And there's even been some criticism
Okay.
that this focus on these claimed features
Uh-huh.
allows vendors to cherry pick a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Maybe leave some vulnerabilities
Right.
unaddressed.
Interesting.
So it's kind of an ongoing debate whether this,
yeah.
creates a false sense of security.
Right. And it just reminds us that no system
Yeah.
is perfect.
Right.
Right.
And it's always good to think critically about these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's a good overview of the common criteria.
Okay.
But obviously, there are limitations to any system.
Yeah.
And we need to think about
Yeah.
what happens when we need to go beyond those limitations,
Right.
especially in the really fast-paced world of commercial software.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where alternative approaches come in.
Okay, so let's dig into those a little bit.
One great example is
Uh-huh.
the BTS/FSTC Security Assurance Initiative,
Oh.
or SAI.
Yeah, they are.
This is focused specifically on the financial services world.
Okay.
And it's basically this industry-driven effort
Okay.
to make software assurance stronger and more streamlined for that sector.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Finance is all about trust and security.
Yeah, it's a high-stakes area.
Yeah.
So how does SAI actually make things better?
Yeah.
They have a few different areas of focus.
Oh.
One is having these really strong,
Yeah.
secure architecture design principles.
Right.
Another is security metrics related to applications.
Uh-huh.
A big one is a risk-based approach to security investment.
Okay.
And then, of course, rigorous testing and evaluation of the software.
Okay.
So it's about going beyond just, ticking boxes and making security a core part of the development process from the beginning.
So you're weaving security into the fabric of the software.
Yeah, the fabric of software development.
Cool.
And there's also this practical element, too,
Okay.
which is the BITS tested mark,
Okay.
which is a certification
Go.
that tells users that a product has been
Go.
thoroughly vetted,
Okay.
tested according to their standards.
Okay.
So this is great for vendors because they get credibility,
Right.
and it's great for consumers because they have extra assurance.
Yeah, everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
So are there other players in this world of alternative approaches?
Oh, there are definitely other players.
Okay.
One that's been around for a really long time is ICSA Labs.
Okay.
They provide independent third-party assurance
Okay.
for computer and network security products.
Okay.
And what sets them apart from, say, the common criteria
Right.
is their emphasis on continually updating their criteria.
Okay.
So they're always refining the way they test things
Gotcha.
to keep up with the constantly changing threats out there.
Right. You got to stay ahead of the bad guys.
Exactly.
It's like a never-ending.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. And then there's Veracode
Okay.
with their VerAfied
Okay.
software assurance program.
Okay.
And they're doing things a little differently
Okay.
with a cloud-based approach.
Okay. Very 21st century.
Very 21st century.
Okay.
So this allows for independent verification of security compliance
Uh-huh.
without the need for all that bulky on-premise hardware and software.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of like security testing as a service.
Okay.
You can access it anywhere.
Very convenient.
Very convenient.
Okay, cool.
And then they also have this really cool thing called the Security Quality Score,
Okay.
or SQS.
All right.
And it uses benchmarks like the OWASP Top 10
Oh.
and CWE SANS Top 25
Uh-huh.
to basically give the software a rating
Okay.
based on how it stacks up against known vulnerabilities.
So it's giving the software like a grade
Exactly.
based on its security
Yeah,
performance.
it's a grade based on security.
Okay.
And I think that makes it much easier.
Yeah, it makes it way more understandable
Yeah.
than just like a
Yeah.
pass or fail kind of thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
So this is all super interesting.
Right.
And I'm sure it affects me as like
Yeah.
an everyday user.
It definitely does.
But like, I'm not a cybersecurity expert.
Right.
So how does it all actually impact me?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right.
And that's exactly what we're going to discuss next.
Okay, awesome.
So stay tuned. I know it's easy to get lost
Yeah.
in all the acronyms and technical stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But here's the takeaway for you as a user.
Okay.
All these frameworks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Common criteria, SAI,
Mm-hmm.
ICSA Labs, Veracode.
Yeah.
They're all about bringing more transparency and accountability
Okay.
to the world of software.
So they're trying to, like, lift the veil,
Yes.
give us a better understanding of what's going on
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
It's about moving beyond just trusting blindly.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you should have the tools and the knowledge to actually make informed choices
Okay.
about the software that you use.
It's like a consumer protection movement,
Yes.
but for software.
Yes, for the digital age.
Okay.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. But how do I actually use all this information to my advantage?
Right.
I mean, it still feels a bit overwhelming.
It can be.
Right.
Well, I think the first step is awareness.
Okay.
Just knowing that these standards and certifications exist is huge.
Okay.
So when you're picking software, keep an eye out for those seals of approval.
Okay.
You know, things like the Common Criteria certification,
Yeah.
the BITS tested mark partook.
Yeah.
They tell you that independent experts
Right.
have actually vetted this product.
So those logos and stuff aren't just marketing fluff.
They're not just fluff.
They actually mean something.
Yeah, they actually carry some weight.
Okay, cool.
But don't just stop there.
Yeah.
You know, dig a little deeper.
Okay.
What specific security features does the product offer?
Right.
Which SFRs does it claim to meet?
Okay.
Do they actually align with what you need
Right.
and what your concerns are?
So it's like buying anything else,
Yeah.
right?
That-
I mean, I wouldn't buy a car
No.
without checking the safety features.
Exactly.
Do your research.
Yeah, exactly. And security is a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay.
It's ongoing.
Yep.
So keep an eye out for updates,
Right.
patches from the vendor.
Okay.
They're often fixing newly discovered vulnerabilities
Right.
to keep your software safe over time.
Like keeping up with your car's maintenance
Exactly.
to make sure it's running. and-
Exactly.
yeah,
It's all about
it's
that
not
continuous process. And I
Well,
think another really crucial point here is
Yeah.
that security is a shared responsibility.
Okay. What did that mean?
It means it's not just on companies and organizations, right?
Oh.
It's on all of us.
So it's not just enough
It's not just enough.
for the software developers to make it secure.
No.
Users
Yeah.
have some responsibility here too.
Users have a big role to play.
Okay, cool.
So, you know, on the development side,
Yeah.
developers need to prioritize security
Okay.
throughout the whole process, right?
Okay.
Writing secure code,
Yeah.
testing it thoroughly.
Right. Right.
You know, they need to be proactive.
Okay, not reactive. So building security into the DNA of the software
Yes, from the beginning.
from the beginning.
Yeah, from the ground up.
Okay.
But it's not just on them.
Right.
The organizations that use the software
Uh-huh.
have a big responsibility too.
Okay.
They need to have strong security policies,
Right.
employee training,
Okay.
proper security controls in place.
So creating a whole culture.
Exactly.
Like a culture of security.
Where everyone's on board.
Yes. And understands their role.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
And then you, as the user,
Yeah.
you're part of this ecosystem too.
Okay.
Choosing secure software, staying updated,
Okay.
being careful with passwords, watching out for threats.
Right.
You actually contribute
Okay.
to making the digital world safer for everyone.
It feels good to know that I'm not just a
Yeah.
passive bystander,
Yeah.
you know?
You're an active participant.
Yeah, that I can actually make a
You
difference.
can make a huge difference.
Okay, cool.
And here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Think about emerging technologies
Mhm.
like AI,
Mm-hmm.
Internet of Things.
Right.
As we rely on these systems more and more,
Yeah.
the stakes for software security just get higher and higher.
It's a bit scary, honestly.
It is.
It's like we're putting our lives
Yeah.
in the hands of software.
It is a big responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's why everything we've been talking about is so important.
Right.
You know, strong frameworks for evaluating the security of these systems.
Right.
And everyone prioritizing security.
Yeah.
Developers, users, everybody.
So it's about building a foundation of trust
Exactly.
in a world that's more and more reliant on software.
Yes, and that trust comes from transparency, accountability,
Okay.
and this shared commitment to security.
Yeah.
It's understanding that in the interconnected world of software,
Yeah.
our actions, no matter how small they may seem,
Right.
can have really big consequences.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah,
It's not just about the technical stuff.
it's not.
It's about like building a safer,
Yeah,
more resilient future
it is. It is.
for all of us.
For everyone.
Okay.
So with that in mind,
Yeah.
let's maybe shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And look at how developers can actually bake security into the process of
Yeah.
developing software.
Okay.
One really well-known method is CLASP,
Okay.
which stands for Comprehensive Lightweight Application Security Process. It's a mouthful, I know.
Yeah.
But basically, it's a framework that provides practical guidance
Right.
on how to build secure software.
So if all those other frameworks we talked about are the what
Yeah.
of software security, CLASP is the how.
Precisely.
Okay, I like that. Like
Yeah.
bridging the gap
Yeah.
between theory and practice.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, cool.
So what makes CLASP so unique?
Yeah.
Well, firstly, it's comprehensive, right?
Okay.
It covers a
Yeah.
wide range of security considerations
Okay.
across the entire software development lifecycle,
So every stage.
every stage.
From design to coding.
Yeah, from design to coding to testing,
Deployment, the whole thing.
even to deployment. Yep.
Okay.
So it's not just about adding security as an afterthought.
Right.
It's ingrained in every step of the way.
Gotcha.
And here's the really cool part.
Okay.
It's lightweight,
Okay.
which means
Yeah.
it's adaptable and practical.
Okay, so whether you're a small startup,
Or a huge corporation,
Yeah.
you can adapt it to your needs.
you can tailor it to your needs.
Cool.
And instead of like strict rules,
Okay.
it focuses on best practices.
Okay.
So techniques that have been proven to actually work
Okay.
in improving security.
So you're learning from the best
Yeah, exactly.
and adopting the practices that actually work.
Exactly.
Okay.
And CLASP also really emphasizes collaboration
Okay.
and communication.
So breaking down the walls between different teams
Exactly.
and making sure everyone's on the same page
Yeah.
when it comes to security.
That shared understanding
Yeah.
of security goals and responsibilities.
Okay.
So let's maybe look at some of the key processes
Oh.
that CLASP outlines.
Okay.
It starts with identifying and understanding the security needs
Okay.
for the software being developed, right?
So going back to that idea of understanding the context,
Exactly. The context.
what needs protection.
Yeah. So once you have those security needs clear,
Right. So once you've got that figured out,
Yeah.
CLASP then guides developers
Yep,
on
so-
how to actually design
Okay.
secure architecture
Mm.
and write secure code.
Okay.
So that involves things like choosing secure libraries and
Yeah.
frameworks,
Okay.
avoiding common coding mistakes that
Yeah.
can lead to vulnerabilities,
Right.
and sticking to secure coding guidelines.
So it's like building a house
Yeah.
with a solid foundation
Yes.
and making sure every brick is laid correctly.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And CLAFT doesn't stop there.
Okay.
Thorough testing throughout the development process is crucial.
Okay.
So using different types of testing,
Okay.
like static analysis, dynamic analysis,
Okay.
penetration testing,
Okay.
to uncover those vulnerabilities.
So a multi-pronged
Exactly, multi-pronged.
approach to testing.
Yeah, you want to make sure
Leave no stone unturned.
you're leaving no stone unturned. And even after the software is released,
Okay.
CLASP provides guidance
Okay.
on ongoing maintenance and monitoring
Right.
to deal with any new threats
Okay.
or vulnerabilities.
Right. So security is not a one-time fix.
No, it's not. It's a continuous journey.
Continuous journey.
Yeah.
Right.
So it encourages that mindset of constant improvement.
Okay.
You know, always looking for ways to enhance security
Yeah.
based on what you've learned.
Right.
How best practices are evolving.
Okay.
So CLASP, like how does it
Yeah.
work for different roles
Yeah.
in a development team?
Yeah, because you have developers. You have
Yeah, you've got developers,
architects, you've got testers,
you've got architects, testers,
project managers.
project managers, exactly.
So what does CLASP do?
Yeah, so for developers,
Yeah.
it provides specific guidance on secure coding practices.
Okay.
So things like input validation, output encoding,
Okay.
proper error handling.
Right. So it's giving them the knowledge,
It's giving them the tools
to
to write secure code.
yeah, to write it securely
Right from the get-go.
right from the beginning.
Okay. got
For
it.
architects,
Yeah.
it provides guidance
Okay.
on designing secure systems.
Right. So it's the foundation
It's the
of
foundation.
the house
Yeah, the foundation of the house.
that you're building.
Exactly.
Go.
For testers,
Yeah.
CLASP emphasizes the importance
Okay.
of thorough and comprehensive testing,
Okay.
both automated and manual.
Okay.
It provides guidance on all these different types of testing,
Okay.
like security testing, penetration testing,
Right.
fuzz testing.
Yep.
So they have a whole arsenal of tools
Yeah.
and techniques
Right.
to really make sure
I
that
bet
that
you do.
software is secure.
Okay, cool.
And for project managers,
Yeah.
CLASP gives them guidance
Okay.
on how to integrate security
Okay.
into their planning and management processes.
Okay.
So that means allocating resources for security.
What?
Right.
Tracking security metrics,
Uh-huh.
fostering a security-conscious culture within the team,
So weaving it into
Yeah.
the fabric of the project.
weaving it into the fabric.
Not an afterthought.
Not an afterthought, exactly.
Oh.
It's got to be there from the beginning.
Right, okay.
Now,
Yeah.
let's zoom out for a second
Yeah.
and think about how CLASP connects back
Okay.
to those alternative approaches.
Okay.
Remember the bits tested mark?
Yeah, of course.
That badge of honor?
Right, for software that passes
Exactly.
with flying colors.
The bit SFSSTC standards.
Right.
Well, here's the interesting part.
Okay.
CLASP can actually be used as a framework
Okay.
to achieve
Really?
that bits tested mark.
Wow. So by following Class SSP,
Yeah.
you can increase your chances
Yeah, you can increase your chance
of getting that certification.
of getting that certification.
Okay, cool.
And the same goes for other
But-
security certifications and standards out there. So CLASP gives you this really solid foundation.
It's like a master key
Yes.
that unlocks the doors to all
Yeah.
these different,
Exactly.
to security recognition trust.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So let's bring it back to you,
Yeah.
the listener.
Yeah.
You've heard about all these
Frameworks, initiative.
frameworks, these initiatives.
Right.
How can you actually tell
Yeah, how do I know?
if the software
If what I'm using is actually secure.
you're using is actually secure?
Yeah.
It's easy to get lost in all the jargon.
Yeah.
But remember, awareness is key.
Okay.
So start by paying attention to those security logos and certifications that
Okay.
we talked about.
Okay.
Look for the common criteria certification,
Uh-huh.
the BITS tested mark,
Mm-hmm.
the ICSA Labs seal,
Yeah.
the Veracode VerAfied mark.
Okay.
These are good signs
Right.
that the software has gone through some
Yeah.
sort of independent security evaluation.
So those logos really represent
A real commitment?
They do. They do.
Or not?
Real commitment to security.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're unsure
Yeah?
about the security of a specific software,
Yeah.
reach out to the vendor.
Okay.
Ask about their security practices, independent assessments they've had,
Okay.
if they follow recognized security frameworks
Okay.
like CLSP.
So be a savvy consumer,
Yes.
demand transparency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
From these software companies.
Right.
And remember, security is ongoing.
Right. Yeah. It's not
It's not a
like
destination.
a one-time fix.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for those updates.
Yeah. Those updates are important.
Those updates are important.
It's like keeping up with your car's maintenance.
Exactly. Exactly.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
didn't we talk about
Yeah.
that shared responsibility earlier?
Yes.
Like, it's not just all
It's not just on the software company.
on the software companies, right?
Yeah.
No, it's on everyone.
What about the organizations
Yes.
that actually use the software?
They have a huge role to play.
Okay.
They need strong security policies.
Okay.
They need to provide security training
Okay.
for their employees,
Right.
implement proper security controls.
So creating that culture
Yeah, creating that culture,
of security
that security conscious culture.
where everyone's on board.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, you as the user,
Right.
you're part of this ecosystem as well,
Right.
choosing secure software,
Yeah.
staying informed about updates,
Right.
practicing good password hygiene,
Okay.
being vigilant about potential threats.
Okay.
All of these things
Well,
contribute to
yeah.
a safer digital world.
It's empowering to know
Yeah,
that we all have a role to play.
we all have a role.
Yeah.
And here's where it gets even more interesting, I think.
Okay.
Think about the implications for AI
Yeah.
and Internet of Things,
Right.
As we become more and more reliant
Yeah.
on these technologies.
Yeah, we're putting more and more trust in them.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
The importance of software security just
Yeah.
grows exponentially.
Yeah, that is a scary thought.
It is.
Like, we're literally entrusting our lives to
Yeah.
these things.
To algorithms, to devices
Yeah.
that are only as secure
Yeah.
as the software that they run on.
Right.
So that's why all of this is so important.
Okay.
We need robust frameworks
Right.
to evaluate the security and resilience of these systems.
Right.
And everybody, from developers to everyday users,
Right.
needs to prioritize security.
Okay.
It can't be an afterthought anymore.
So it's about building that foundation of trust
It is.
in a world that's becoming more and more reliant
Yeah, exactly.
on software.
It is about building that trust.
Right.
And that trust comes from transparency, accountability, shared responsibility for security.
Right. And understanding that
Yeah.
our actions, no matter how small,
No matter how small,
can have big consequences.
can have huge consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just about
Right.
the technical specs
Yeah.
and certifications.
Yeah.
It's about building a safer and more resilient future for all of us.
Well said.
Yeah. So
It's
I
inspiring.
think it's inspiring work.
Yeah. Cool. It's true. It really does feel like we're all
Yeah.
connected in this digital world,
Mm-hmm.
and we all have a role to play in security.
Absolutely.
But even with all this knowledge,
Yeah.
it can still feel a bit daunting.
It can.
Like, where do we go from here?
Right.
How do we actually take action?
Yeah. How do we move beyond just being aware?
Right, exactly.
I think the first step is
Yeah.
to acknowledge that security isn't just a technical problem.
Okay.
It's a human one.
Oh,
You know, we need to address the human factors
Yeah.
that create vulnerabilities in the first place.
you mean like carelessness or? Yeah, carelessness, cutting corners,
Right.
human error, all of that.
Right, because we're all human
We're all human.
and we make mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we need to create a culture where everybody
Yeah.
understands how important security is
Okay.
and feels empowered to actually take action.
So it's not just about the technical solutions.
No.
It's about,
It's about changing mindsets
okay.
and changing behaviors.
Right.
So education and training are key.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Equipping people with the knowledge and skills
Okay.
to make good decisions about security,
Yeah.
both at work and in their personal lives.
Right. So that's things like secure coding practices for developers,
Yes, secure coding practices.
security awareness training for employees,
For employees.
even just tips for staying safe online for,
For everyone.
done.
For the average person.
yeah, for the average person. Exactly.
We need to make security accessible
Yes.
to everybody.
Accessible and understandable. It's about democratizing security.
I love that.
Yeah.
Democratizing security.
So everybody can be part of this solution.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
there's a real opportunity there to create change.
Yeah, if we approach it that way,
Yeah.
So by fostering that culture of security,
Okay.
investing in an education
Right.
and training,
Mm-hmm.
and addressing these human factors
Right.
that often trip us up,
Yeah.
we can create a more secure digital world for everyone.
That's an inspiring thought.
Yeah,
It really is.
it is.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, I
Yeah.
want to leave you with a thought.
Okay.
Think about what role you can play
Okay.
in this whole journey.
Okay.
It might be as simple as choosing
Yeah.
software that prioritizes security,
Okay.
staying updated,
Right.
practicing good password hygiene,
Yeah.
or maybe you advocate
Yeah.
for stronger security measures
Okay.
at your company,
Okay.
or you inspire
Mhm.
others to adopt a more security conscious
Okay.
mindset.
Right. So even small actions
Yeah.
can make a difference.
Small actions can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
That's what we hope you take away from this
Mhm.
deep dive.
Well said.
So that brings us to the end
Yeah.
of our exploration of software security.
It's been a really
Yeah.
interesting conversation.
It has.
We've learned a lot.
We've covered a lot of ground,
Yeah.
from international standards
Mm-hmm.
to alternative approaches,
Mhm.
from technical frameworks to,
Yeah.
the human element.
Yeah.
It's clear that securing the software that powers our lives
Yeah.
is complex.
Very complex.
But it's a challenge we
Yeah.
can't ignore.
We can't ignore it.
And it's a challenge that requires all of us to work together.
Right. Developers, organizations.
Everybody.
Users.
Yeah.
So as you're navigating your digital life,
Yeah.
remember
Remember.
what we talked about today.
Remember these principles.
Yeah.
Stay informed. Be vigilant.
Mm-hmm.
Don't underestimate
Yeah.
the power of your actions.
Even the small ones.
Even the small actions.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
And until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and
Yes.
keep exploring
Keep
this
learning.
fascinating world of
Definitely.
software security.
Couldn't have said it better myself.